Tila hindi na nga kinaya pa ni Claire Castro ang batikos na natatanggap ni President Bongbong Marcos at ipinaalam na nito sa publiko ang tunay na ugaling mayroon si President BBM. Ayon kay Castro, mabuti ang hangarin ni Bongbong para sa bayan at hindi daw talaga mahirap mahalin ang presidente dahil sa buti ng puso nito. Narito panoorin ang video kung paano pinagtanggol ni Claire Castro si Bongbong Marcos.
It's time to realign government with the people's expectations. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has called for the courtesy resignation of all cabinet secretaries in a decisive move to recalibrate his administration following the results of the recent elections. This is not business as usual, the President said. The people have spoken and they have expect results, not politics, not excuses. We hear them and we will act. The request for courtesy resignations is aimed at giving the President the elbow room to evaluate the performance of each department and determine who will continue to serve in line with his administration's recalibrated priorities. This is not about personalities, it's about performance, alignment, and urgency. Those who have delivered and continue to deliver will be recognized. But we cannot afford to be complacent. The time for comfort zones is over. This step marks a clear transition from the early phase of governance to a more focused and performance-driven approach. The President emphasized that while many have served with dedication and professionalism, the evolving needs of the country require a renewed alignment, faster execution, and a results-first mindset. Government services will remain uninterrupted during this transition, and the President reiterated that stability, continuity, and meritocracy will guide the formation of his leadership team moving forward. With this bold reset, the Marcos administration signals a new phase, sharper, faster, and fully focused on the people's most pressing needs. So, hindi na po siguro natin ikakagulat ang pagtawag po ng courtesy resignation ng Pangulo sa kanyang mga cabinet secretaries, heads of agencies with cabinet rank, other heads of agencies, and presidential advisors and assistants. Handa na po tayong tumugon sa inyong mga katanungan.
First question, Crisel Insigne, IBC 13.
Hello po, Yusek. How this courtesy call will affect the ongoing projects and programs of the administration?
Maliwanag din po ang sinabi ng Pangulo, hindi po maaapektuhan kung ano po ang pending at existing projects habang ito ay may transition. At tuloy-tuloy lamang po ang pagtatrabaho ng mga cabinet secretaries at ng mga tao sa gobyerno. At mas maganda po itong mapakita rin ng ating mga heads of agencies, cabinet secretaries, na sila ay naaayon sa goal ng Pangulo. Ipakita nila na sila ay dapat na matantili bilang parte ng administrasyon ng ating Pangulo. Sabi nga natin, walang puwang ang tamad at korap sa administrasyon ni Pangulong Marcos Jr.
Ace Romero, Philippine Star.
Yusek, nabanggit sa statement na it's something that has got to do with the election results. Ano po ba yung resulta ng election na mukhang hindi yata natuwa ang Pangulo at nag-trigger ng ganitong call for resignation?
Aminado ang Pangulo na kulang sa kanyang paningin, nakulangan siguro ang taong bayan sa naging performance ng gobyerno, kaya hindi nila nakuha yung pinaka-target na numero especially sa Senado. Pero kahit ano pa man yan, kung ano man maging resulta, ganito pa rin dapat ang gawin ng ating Pangulo, mas mapabilis pa rin ang performance ng administrasyon. Yun din po talaga ang nais ng ating Pangulo.
Referring to 12-0 po yung number na sinasabi niyo, target.
Mas maganda kung 11-0. Yeah, mas maganda po.
So hanggang kailan po kaya yung magiging action ng Pangulo? Yung kailan po namin malalaman yung magiging resulta ng inyong review sa performance? Kailan malalaman sino po yung mare-retain at sino po yung aalisin na sa cabinet?
Kung mapapansin niyo po sa bawat salita ng Pangulo, ang gusto niya ay mabilisan. So asahan niyo po ang mas mabilis na action dito. Hintayin na lamang po natin dahil ka-announce lamang po ito kahapon.
Salamat po.
Alvin Baltasar, Radyo Pilipinas.
Yusek, I believe doon sa part ng courtesy resignation na iniutos ng Pangulo, i-reviewin yung kanilang performance. Ang tanong ko, Yusek, sino-sino yung bubuo doon sa review committee? Ano yung composition nila? Sino-sino sila?
Ibibigay na lang po namin ang detalye patungkol dito at ibabato namin ang katanungan na yan sa Office of the Executive Secretary.
Yusek, follow up na lang. Doon sa mga nagbigay ng resignation, hindi namin nakita yung Office of the Solicitor General. Just to... kahit meron na, please enlighten us. Kasama ba ang Office of the Solicitor General sa miyembro ng gabinete ng administrasyon?
Opo, kasama po ang Office of the Solicitor General na kailangan mag-submit ng courtesy resignation.
Next question, Jean Mangalus, philstar.com.
Good morning. What are the metrics? We know that we want fast action from these cabinet secretaries, but some of their agencies are for long-term action. So, ano yung metrics na tinitingnan ng Pangulo?
Unang-una kung gano'n nga ba kabilis ang kanilang performance at kung may issue ba tungkol sa korupsyon. Importante po yan. So, hindi lamang performance to, titignan din po nila kung nagkakaroon ba ng issue tungkol sa anomalya sa kanilang pag-handle ng kanilang agency.
There are reports that this shakeup is targeted towards specific secretaries. How true is this?
We have no update on that. If there is really a target secretary regarding this request for courtesy resignation, there's none as of the moment.
Tristan Nodalo, Newswatch.
Hello po, Yusek. Good morning. Ma'am, ito po bang desisyon ng Pangulo is also one way of showing na, di ba yung nabanggit niya sa podcast niya, he wants to be respected, pero nasabi niya baka mas gusto niyang feared ang next na approach niya. And then si Senator-elect Ping Lacson sabi kailangan ng Pangulo ng bastonero sa government para talagang may matakot. But ito po ba ipagpapakita ng Pangulo na hindi niya kailangan ng bastonero because siya kaya niya pong mag-act ng sarili niya or mag-decide?
Bilang presidente, hindi po talaga dapat sinasabi na kailangan ng bastonero. Mismong presidente mismo ang bastonero. At yan po ay aasahan natin. Ngayon po na nagsalita ang Pangulo na kinakailangan po ng mas mabilis at malinis na administrasyon, mapapakita po yan ng Pangulo. Di po niya kailangan bastonero. Siya na mismo po ang bastonero.
Siguro na lang po baka sa ibang kritiko ng Pangulo gamitin tong mass resignation or courtesy resignation ng cabinet secretaries. Yung timing po nung decision na to, why is it, ito yung nakita ng Pangulo na best timing to do a revamp of his cabinet secretaries?
Tandaan po natin, nung una pa lamang po ako na-appoint as a press officer, nabanggit na po natin yan kung may kinakailangang mga revamp. Sabi ko wala pa pong update pero talagang yan po ang ginagawa ng Pangulo, makita at ma-monitor ang trabaho ng kanyang mga heads of agencies at mga departments. So hindi lamang po ito ngayon. Talaga pong nire-review. Tandaan po natin, marami na natatanggal bago pa nagkaroon ng eleksyon. Bago pa nangyari ang eleksyon. So siguro mas naramdaman lang naman Pangulo itong naging eleksyon na mas kailangan pa ng mas mabilisang pagtatrabaho ang administrasyon para sa taong bayan.
Maricel Halili, TV5.
Yusek, magandang umaga. Paglilinaw lang po yung sinabi nyo kanina na walang pagtigil doon sa program ng gobyerno. So, ibig sabihin, the cabinet secretary will still hold their post until makapag-appoint ng panibago si Presidente.
Yes, mananatili sila sa kanilang posisyon. Siguro ito yung tamang panahon para ipakita nila na dapat sila manatili sa kanilang posisyon. Pero kapag nakita po talaga ng Pangulo na hindi mo deserve ang iyong posisyon, you will be out.
Pero Yusek, how frustrated is the President for him to lead into this direction, asking all the cabinet to submit their courtesy resignation? And how big a factor is his most recent approval ratings?
Approval ratings, ang recent, medyo mataas naman. So nakita naman natin na mataas pa rin ang tiwala ng taong bayan sa Pangulo. At hindi naman po kasi maganda rin sa parte ng Pangulo na isahin niya ang bawat sekretary, alamin kung ano ba ang performance mo, kaya dapat lahatan po ito. Para sabi nga nila magkaroon ng elbow room ang Pangulo sa pagpili ng tamang leaders na mamumuno sa kanyang administrasyon.
Sorry, ma'am. Is it right to say that he is frustrated with the performance of some of the cabinet secretaries?
Yun po ang lumalabas.
Thank you.
Follow-up question, Eden Santos, Net25.
Okay. Yusek, good morning po. Yung pong cabinet revamp, hindi po ba iyon layo na ilihis umano yung sisig sa Pangulo? Dahil kung binabanggit niyo po na yung performance ng ilang mga cabinet secretaries, since sila po ay nagsisilbing alter ego ng Pangulo, hindi po ba parang sa kanya rin yun na babalik?
Kaya nga po tatanggalin. Para po mas mapaganda pa ng Pangulo ang performance ng kanyang administrasyon.
Thank you po.
Follow-up question, Gilbert Perdis.
Good morning po, Yusek. Nanawagan po si Senator Coco Pimentel kay Pangulong Marcos na maigi daw na magtalaga ng mga cabinet members na walang political ambitions at hindi nangangarap na mahalal sa 2028 elections. Anong reaksyon ng palasyo dito?
Maganda pong suggestion yan. Dapat po kasi nagtatrabaho dito, hindi pang sarili lamang, hindi pang negosyo, kundi para sa taong bayan. Magandang suggestion po yan at malamang po ay kasama rin po yan sa magiging criteria ng Pangulo sa pagpili ng mga bagong cabinet secretaries.
Thank you po.
Follow-up question, Ira Pakaniban, DZRJ.
Oo nga. I can hear you.
No, I was just going to ask Yusek, no. Sabi sweeping, pero there are some cabinet ranked secretaries who have expressed na wala silang balak mag-submit ng courtesy resignation. I know of at least one who says na hindi naman ako cabinet secretary, Office of the President ako eh. So, kasali ba siya? Hindi ba siya kasali? Ano ba ang posisyon ng...
Liwanagin po natin. All cabinet secretaries, heads of agencies with cabinet rank, other heads of agencies kahit hindi kayo secretary, and presidential advisors and assistants. So, kasama po, kung sino man po yung binabanggit nyo po, hindi ko po alam kung sino yan, pero wag niya pong, kung magandang performance niya, pero kung siya po ay nasa listahan po, ang kanyang posisyon ay nasa listahan, wag po naman sana magmatigas, if ever. At kung maganda naman po ang performance niya, hindi naman po siya matatanggal.
Kung hindi siya magbigay ng courtesy resignation, will it be deemed na courtesy resigned na siya anyway?
Tingnan po natin. Hindi ko po alam kung ano po yung pinanggagalingan ng istorya ninyo.
Sabihin ko na si Secretary Gadon, dun sa chat group, sinabi niya hindi siya kasali.
Sa aking pagkakaalam, presidential advisor siya. At ang tawag sa kanya secretary. At sa aking pagkakaalam, personally po, ay kasama po. Sa akin lamang po yan.
Thank you, ma'am.
Follow-up question, Heidi Sampang, FEBC.
Good afternoon, Yusek. Paano po natin parang sa mga taong bayan po, sa mga karaniwang mamamayan, paano po ito dapat na tanggapin or intindihin po nila yung pag-submit nga po ng courtesy resignation ng lahat ng mga cabinet? Baka lang po kasi may impression na unstable tayo, unstable po ang government po natin.
Dapat mas matuwa po ang taong bayan dahil pinapakita po ng Pangulo na sabi nga natin, walang puwang sa gobyerno, sa administrasyon, ang tamad at ang korap. Mas maganda po at dapat tanggapin ng taong bayan na mapalitan ang mga ito ng karapat-dapat sa posisyon. At yun naman po ang kagustuhan ng Pangulo. Ito lahat ay para sa bansa at sa taong bayan.
Follow-up question, Ivan Mayrina, GMA7.
Yusek, ito pong recalibration ng prioridad. Can you tell us, ano ho kaya maaasahan ng mga tao that will come out of this call for a cabinet revamp? Anong mga prioridad po itutuon ng gobyerno ang kanilang trabaho from here on?
Unang-una po, sa infrastructure, dapat po talaga matugunan, mas mabilis po dyan. Kung ano po mga serbisyo sa publiko, uunahin yan. Marami pong pwede sa edukasyon, infrastructure. So, hindi ko po maiisa-isa yan. Kung pwede pong gawin at gampanan ng Pangulo na masaayos ang lahat sa tamang oras at bago siya matapos ang termino, gagawin po ng Pangulo yan.
At ito ho ba ang panahon na makikita natin from here on again, yung sinasabi ng Pangulo na marahil kailangan ng mas mabagsik pamumuno?
Opo. Umpisa lamang to.
Follow-up question, Sam Medinilla, Business Mirror.
Good morning, ma'am. Na-mention po nila earlier na medyo may mga hindi aspect ng past 3 years na performance yung administration na hindi satisfied si Pangulo. Ano po kayang aspect nun na yung hindi satisfied si President? Is it security, economy, social welfare?
Okay, sa ngayon po at wala po tayong pinakadetalye patungkol dyan at magkakaroon pa lamang po niya ng pag-i-evaluate. Kapag ka po nagkaroon na po ako ng anumang detalye patungkol po dyan, ibibigay ko po sa inyo kaagad.
Tapos ma'am, dati nung nag-start pa po yung administration, naging concurrent po si Pangulo ng Department of Agriculture. May plans po ba siya na mag-take over sa some cabinet position?
Ngayon po, wala po. Dahil ang sabi naman po ng ating Pangulo, tuloy-tuloy lamang po ang trabaho during this transition at hintayin na lamang po nila kung sila po ay matatanggal o hindi.
Tapos last na lang for my part, ma'am. Na-mention po nila na lahat ng cabinet secretaries na nag-submit ng courtesy resignation magko-continue pa rin sa performance ng trabaho nila. Pero di ba, regardless kung mag-submit sila ng courtesy resignation o hindi, dati pa naman may power ang Pangulo na kung gusto niyang tanggalin yung cabinet secretary niya, pwede naman niya gawin yun, regardless kung may sinabmit na resignation letter o wala. Bakit kailangan pong magkaroon ng courtesy resignation?
Para po lahat. Lahat. Ma-realize ng lahat kung sila ba'y nagkulang o hindi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next question, Clay Perdilla, PDV4.
Morning, Secretary. Other topic po. Can the Palace clarify whether the President is indeed planning to sit in the Bicameral Conference Committee? And how does the Palace view statements of other senators that even if the President is willing, he cannot and should not sit in the Bicam, as the Constitution does not allow it po?
Literally, he will not definitely sit during the Bicam meeting. This is just an expression to show to the people that he will keep an eye on the national budget for 2026. So it should be at least, it should be based on the priorities of the government. The budget should be based on the priorities of the government, and it should prioritize the shovel-ready projects of the government. So yun lamang po.
Follow-up question, Ace Romero, Philippine Star.
So apparently, yung sinabi po na uupo si Pangulo sa Bicam, tututukan, ang ibig sabihin po, tututukan yung Bicam to ensure na yung priorities ay masusunod at hindi mangled yung budget. How confident is Malacanang that the next budget process will not experience yung nangyari noong 2025 wherein you have to meet with cabinet members after the approval of the budget to think of ways on how to fund the programs that were deprived or stripped of funds by some lawmakers? How confident na hindi mangyayari ulit yung this budget season?
Kaya nga po nagsalita ang Pangulo na tututukan ito.
But are you optimistic na it won't happen again or meron pa rin kayong concerns na baka magkaroon pa rin ng ganong mga senaryo?
I do not want to answer hypothetical questions. Hindi natin sinasabi na negatibo. But we should always be optimistic.
Salamat po.
Next question, Richmond Quevedo, Daily Tribune.
Good afternoon po, Yusek. On the topic of sanctions imposed by the United States to the International Criminal Court, balikan ko lang po itong sanctions ng US. The United States unequivocally opposes and expects our allies to oppose any ICC actions against the United States, Israel, or any other ally of the United States that has not consented to the ICC jurisdiction. As the Philippines is an ally of the United States, how is the Philippines going to respond in case po maglabas ng warrant of arrest ng ICC through the Interpol sa iba pang involved sa kaso po ni former President Rodrigo Duterte?
Kung ano po magiging responde ng pamahalaan, ito naman dapat ay naaayon sa batas. Pero as of the moment, we do not have any update on that. Let's just wait and see.
Thank you po, Yusek.
At bago po tayo magtapos, meron pa rin po tayong good news. Lalagyan na ng wheelchair lift ang lahat ng EDSA busway station para makatulong po ito sa mga pasahero na may kapansanan o PWDs. Ito ay inanunsyo ng DOTR ayon na rin sa utos ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na pagbutihin ang commuting experience ng publiko. Kaugnay nito, sinabi ng MMDA na walang ginastos ang gobyerno sa mga wheelchair lift dahil ipinakiusap ito ng MMDA sa kontraktor. Panoorin po natin ito.
Mentioned by Yusek Ler, the President will be participating in the 46th ASEAN Summit, in the 2nd ASEAN GCC Summit, and in the ASEAN GCC China Summit, all happening in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia on 26 and 27 May. The President will be joined by leaders of other ASEAN member states and various dialogue partners at the invitation of Malaysian Prime Minister Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who serves as this year's ASEAN Chair under the theme Inclusivity and Sustainability. The summit is a mechanism for leaders to provide policy direction for ASEAN, build consensus of matters of mutual interest, and exchange views on key regional and international issues. The President is expected to attend 9 leaders-level engagements. 6 of these will be held on May 26th, and these are some of the meetings that will be attended by the President. So there's the plenary session and the retreat session of the 46th ASEAN Summit, and then there will be 3 leaders interface meetings with the parliamentarians, with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, and also the representatives from ASEAN Youth. And finally, on that day, there will be a signing ceremony of the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on ASEAN 2045. And then there will be 3 more meetings that the President will be participating in the following day, and these are the 16th Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area Summit, or the Bimpiaga Summit, which the President himself will be chairing. And then there's also the 2nd ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council Summit, and finally the ASEAN GCC China Summit. Now, in all these engagements, the President will continue to uphold and promote Philippine interests in ASEAN, such as deepening security and stability in the region, economic cooperation, and broadening engagement with dialogue partners. Furthermore, the President will continue to underscore the Philippines' sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction in accordance with international law, including the 1982 UNCLOS and the 2016 Arbitral Award. Meanwhile, the leaders are also expected to discuss various global issues that impact the region and beyond. These include the situation in Myanmar, the United States' new tariffs policy, and other geopolitical and geoeconomic challenges that affect the region. To date, there are 22 outcome documents that are expected to be issued during these summits. Some will be adopted and some will be noted by the leaders. And just a few of these outcome documents include the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on the ASEAN Vision 2045, the joint statement of the 2nd ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council Summit, and the joint statement of the ASEAN GCC China Summit. Finally, the President will possibly have a number of bilateral meetings with his counterparts at the silence of the summits. I'll stop there and happy to answer po yung mga katanungan ninyo.
First question, Maricel Halili, TV5.
Good morning, sir. Sir, yung bilateral meetings of the President, kaninong mga heads of state ito?
We are still in the process of confirming, but we are hearing of possible bilateral engagements with Laos, with Kuwait, and also with Vietnam.
So tatlo so far?
So far.
Okay. And who among the cabinet officials will join the President in his trip to ASEAN?
Well, as of today, what we have in the delegation, of course, he will be joined by the Secretary of Foreign Affairs. And I understand since there will be a focus on the economic as well, so the Secretary of Department of Trade and Industry is also joining.
Thank you, sir.
Tristan Nadalo, Newswatch.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir, you've mentioned that the President is expected to raise the issues of Philippine sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction. Last ASEAN-China meeting, na-bring up din po yung para mapabilis yung Code of Conduct. So, ano pong iba or at least ipupush pa ng President when it comes to ma-finalize yung Code of Conduct ng madalian?
Yes. So just to refresh everyone, back in 2023, the foreign ministers of ASEAN, they agreed to fast-track the discussions on the COC. And this is what we are banking on during the summits. The President certainly will push for it. He will raise this with the leaders of the ASEAN. And going back to that statement, it's a reaffirmation of concluding it hopefully among ASEAN and China in 3 years since 2023. So we're looking at 2026 next year.
Ivan Maydina, GMA7.
Sir, good morning. You said that there will be at least 22 documents to be adopted, among them the Kuala Lumpur Declaration and many others. What specific documents are of specific importance to the Philippines?
One of them, of course, would be the joint statement because this will be agreed upon by the leaders. So we're looking at the joint statement of the ASEAN leaders, joint statement also with GCC and with GCC and China leaders. I cannot give you the details because these are still being negotiated, but certainly it will cover the 3 pillars in ASEAN. So we're looking at peace and security, perhaps on maritime cooperation, and then there's also the economic cooperation. We're all familiar with the usual discussions on, for example, digital transformation within ASEAN. So those things will be covered. I understand there will be something about artificial intelligence, and on the socio-cultural, the people-to-people ties, and of course, looking at climate change, that will be part of the discussions. So those are the broad topics that I can share as of the moment.
Any trade agreements that are expected to be finalized, especially in the context of the U.S. tariffs?
No trade agreements will be finalized, but certainly this will be a topic during the summit.
Thank you.
Ace Romero, Philippine Star.
Good morning po. You mentioned that one of the topics to be discussed is yung US tariffs. Ano po particular yung mga lines o kaya yung mga ipupush ng ating Pangulo with regard to this given na malaki yung nakikitang impact nito sa global economy?
So regarding the US unilateral tariffs, I'd like to go back to what the economic ministers did a few weeks back, which they issued a joint statement among ASEAN regarding the unilateral tariffs. And gusto ko lang po i-stress doon yung magiging action ng ASEAN member states, which is, of course, they are concerned, but at the same time, we will not, the region will not do a retaliatory measure. Instead, palalaganapin po natin yung maigting na more on bilateral and also multilateral engagement with the US para po maging maganda yung kalabasan ng discussions na yun. As you may recall, we have a team that went to Washington, D.C. earlier. I understand it was led by Secretary Go and also by DTI Secretary Roque. So they were there to discuss this bilaterally with the United States. But under the ASEAN framework, meron din po tayong discussions on that. The details of which, though, is still being discussed and negotiated, and hopefully we'll be able to come up with something in more detail after the summit. But definitely, nasa agenda ng ASEAN, and the President is also looking very much into it.
So yung mga nabanggit po nyo, yung additional engagements, yung no retaliation, more dialogue with the US, ito po ay inaasahan nating susuportahan ng Pangulo sa kanyang engagement sa ASEAN.
Yes, so meron tayong, the way to see it is meron tayong ginagawang bilateral discussion with the United States, and under the ASEAN framework naman, the President is very supportive of those non-retaliatory measures. Instead, we're going to do something na it will be beneficial to all the ASEAN member states as a whole.
Salamat po.
Alvin Baltazar, Radyo Pilipinas.
Sir, good morning. Is there a chance for the President to meet with the Filipino community?
I have no information about the meeting on the Filipino community in Malaysia, but happy to share that information in case we have confirmation.
Just to give us an idea, sir, ano ba ang profile ng ating mga Filipino sa Malaysia?
So we have around 200,000 Filipino nationals in Malaysia. And varied po yung kanilang profile. So we have professionals. We also have non-professionals in the field of services, for example. And many of them also are spread out in Malaysia. So yeah, that's the what we have for the Malaysia in our Filipinos in Malaysia.
Tristan Nadalo, Newswatch.
Hi sir, ako po ulit. Sir, may reports din na lumalabas na it's expected din na mag-vote ang ASEAN for Timor-Leste's membership. May ganun po ba sir na part ng ASEAN Summit? And if yes, ano pong magiging position ng Philippine government? Because last time may issue with Arnie Teves and Timor-Leste and ASEAN.
The agenda, the Timor-Leste accession to the ASEAN is certainly in the agenda. So kasama po siya sa magiging discussion ng leaders natin. And we are following actually a roadmap. There's a roadmap for Timor-Leste to be able to accede to the ASEAN. And we are following that. And as regards naman po dun sa case ni Teves, it's actually a DOJ matter. So I'm not able to comment on that, but certainly we are supportive of Timor-Leste joining the ASEAN.
Ace Romero, Philippine Star.
In a recent phone conversation with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar, nabanggit po na pag-uusapan din yung sa Myanmar, yung sa ceasefire. Ano po yung mababanggit kaya ng Pangulo with regard to the Myanmar situation, given that the topic was raised during a previous conversation with the Malaysian leader?
As you know, the Philippines will be the incoming chair of ASEAN next year. So ang napag-usapan po nila is really how Malaysia as the current chair and the Philippines as the incoming chair will be able to work together para magkaroon ng progress dun sa nangyayari sa Myanmar. So that's the general discussion, but hoping we'll be able to share more details as the two leaders meet in Malaysia.
So will he express support for the ceasefire na pinananawagan ng Malaysian government?
Yes. So that's part of the agenda also of the President to call for more or to deepen yung cooperation on the ceasefire within Malaysia, Myanmar rather.
Thank you po.
Do we have more questions for Deputy Assistant Secretary Imperial? Jojo Montemayor, Malaya.
Sir, regarding lang po sa Myanmar, sir, ano po yung magiging position ng Philippines dun sa pagtanggap ng yung junta leader ng Myanmar sa ASEAN?
So under the ASEAN framework, of course, the way we work is non-interference and those other principles under the ASEAN and under the TAC. So kung ano man po yung magiging decision ng current na junta ngayon sa Myanmar that is acceptable to ASEAN, then we will welcome that. So that would be also the position of the President.
Sir, how about yung sa humanitarian situation po sa Myanmar?
On that, I understand there are ongoing discussions with the various groups in Myanmar. As you know, when the earthquake hit a few weeks back in Myanmar, ang talaga pong naging focus there was the humanitarian assistance for the country. So all the ASEAN member states, including the Philippines of course, nagbigay po tayo ng tulong sa Myanmar. And yung framework po na yun ng ASEAN, that's what we utilize to be able to reach the hardest part sa loob ng Myanmar, to send the assistance.